So if I'm looking at one-step equations, let's look at the steps in order to do them, okay? The very first step, can everybody see this okay to begin with?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Put your glasses on, child.
I lost it.
Where are they at? How you lose glasses if they're supposed to be on your face?
Is there a name spelled with the Y or L?
Wow. What's my last name? What does it start with? Thank you. That's called cursive. Something that you wouldn't know because they took it out of the curriculum when you were coming up. But that's just me. Absolutely. That's a parent thing, not a school thing. So, looking at this. Up here, equations have two sides. Separated by what? What do you think separates an equation? An equal sign. Equations are solved when the variable is isolated. It's isolated. On one side of the equation. To isolate the variable, we use inverse operations. So, what is the inverse operation for addition?
Subtraction.
In other words, what operations undoes addition? Say the same. Subtraction. So, that's what inverse operation means. What undoes multiplication? What undoes subtraction? And what undoes multiplication? Division? What undoes division? There we go. So I should be able to ask it in either direction, and you should be able to tell me what operation is the opposite or the inverse of that. Does that make sense? Yes, no? Perfect. Your participation matters the most. Yes? Yes. So looking at this, what is the inverse operation of addition? We just answered that. In other words, what operation undoes addition? So in order to solve this one-step equation, I have x plus 5. How do I get rid of the number that's next to x? Subtraction of what? 5. So what happens to these two numbers? They cancel out into 0. So what's being brought down unchanged? Behind that? Equals. And then what am I typing in? So type that in. Don't say it out loud. Give your people time. 33 minus 5. Don't say it out loud. Give your people time. What'd you get, Tatarian? Did y'all get 28? But with every answer, we need to check it, right? So checking it means I need to put 28 in the place of what? So, you remember evaluation from the last unit? When I gave you a variable and you had to put in the value for it? So, what needs to come after this? Plus 5. Then? Equals? 33. Because your x was already replaced by what number? 28. So, type in 28 plus 5. Don't say it out loud. I'll tell you when. Type in 28 plus 5. Gavin, what'd you get? Does 33 equal 33, everybody?
Yeah.
So is 28 the right answer? Yes or no? Yes. Because this should be a true statement if you're checking. Does that make sense? Everybody still with me? Yes, it's evaluation. You remember that from the last unit? I gave you an expression and I said if A is equal to this, and you plugged that number in for A. That's what you're doing here to check, okay? So, this is special because you're plugging this in. Okay? I have x minus 3 equals 17. How do I isolate x? By adding 3 onto each side. Does that make sense? So, what's being brought down? What happens to these 3's? They cancel out. What's brought down behind the x? Directly behind it. Equals. Thank you. That's the number one step people miss. And what's being typed in? Don't say it out loud. Give your people time to type it in. Everybody still with me? So what's 17 plus 3? To check this, how would I rewrite it? Absolutely. So writing that down, 20 in parentheses, because that's what you're plugging in. What am I typing into the calculator?
20 minus 3.
Thank you. Typing it in, 20 minus 3. Remember, your learning is what you make of it, okay? Kingston, what'd you get? What's your question?
Can you just do 17 plus 3? And get X from that?
Baby, that's what you just did. That's what we just did.
Yeah, so 17.
So, it was 17. Does 17 equal 17?
Yeah.
So, is 20 the correct answer? Yes. If this does not give you a true statement, your answer is wrong. Does that make sense? Everybody still with me? Okay. Looking at this one right here. X plus 12 equals 10. How do I solve this one? Minus 12. So what's being brought down? What happens to the 12s? What's brought down directly behind it? Equals. And then what am I typing in? Everybody type it in. Don't say it out loud. 10 minus 12. (10 minus 12). Aaliyah, what'd you get? Y'all get -2 as well?
Yes.
You wouldn't know. You didn't type it in. No, you need to type it in. We saw the bell work. Type it in. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. How do I check this?
-2 plus 12 equals 10.
So typing in -2 plus 12.
Okay.
Everybody get 10? Does 10 equal 10? Any questions there? Let's look at the second one right here. 2 minus x, well, 2 equals x minus 9. What needs to happen here to get x by itself? Plus 9. Whatever they write first does not matter. You're still trying to isolate x. So, from left to right, what am I typing in?
2 plus 9.
So type in 2 plus 9. I'll tell you when. Jennifer, what'd you get? 2 plus 9. Type it in quick. 11. Everybody else get 11? What's brought down unchanged? What happens to those 9s? So, what's my answer?
X2. Oh.
You can flip it. Will they still equal the same thing? So, is either answer approved? Yep. How do I check this? So how would I rewrite it? 2 equals. There we go. So what's 11 minus 9? Does 2 equal 2? So 11 is the correct answer. Any questions there? We good? Let's look at the next one. 12 equals x plus 8. Someone tell me how to do this one. Yes, sir.
I'll do 4.
Y'all agree or disagree? Then?
And then do 4 equals x.
Or it can be.
X equals 4. Then you check and do 12 parentheses 4.
What are you missing?
Equals parentheses 4. What's it?
Because that's what's in the original, no? So,
We do
what's brought down unchanged?
12.
Because we're not changing that. What comes down unchanged behind it?
4 equals
Equals. Because how would we change the equal sign? We wouldn't. And then what's being typed in.
4 plus
So type that in. And that gets you.
8. Let me take plus 12. Yeah, 12.
So is this a true statement? Will 12 always equal 12?
Yeah.
So it's a true statement. Say it with confidence with your chest. Is it a true statement? There you go. So it's 4 the right answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Thank you. Someone help me with the last one right here. Come on, y'all. We still have 2 other things to cover. Who's helping me with this one? All right, Kylan, let's go.
So, plus 4, 7.
There we go. You're okay. You're okay. We just did 4 on the last one.
And it cancels out 7. So it's 20%, which is 28.
So what am I bringing down from left to right?
Equals,
What equals?
x equals 28.
There you go. How do I check it?
We put in 28, minus 7 equals 21.
Absolutely.
And we bring down 21 and equal, and then 21.
Is that a true statement?
Yes.
Agreed. So 28 is the right answer. Any questions? You should always check your answers when in doubt. Any questions there? All right, flip it on over. What's the inverse operation for multiplication? So if I'm looking at this first one, it says multiplication, we have negative 5x equals 10. So how would I get x isolated? What's happening between negative 5 and x?
Divided by negative 5.
Pause just a second. What's happening between negative 5 and x?
Multiplication.
So how do I get rid of multiplication?
Negative 5 divided by positive 5.
No. How do I get rid of multiplication?
Not divide.
Dividing by what?
40.
No.
5.
No.
Stop guessing.
What's being multiplied?
Negative 5.
Thank you. So what are you dividing by?
Negative 5.
Thank you. You see how none of your answers match that one? It wasn't right. Was you to one side, you must do to the... Thank you. What happens to these negative 5s?
Cancel.
They cancel out into 1. So 1 what? What's brought down directly behind it? What's being typed in? 10 divided by negative 5. Type it in, please. I'll tell you when. What'd you get, Jordan Kilgore? Everybody else get negative 2? I agree with him. We're checking our solution yet again. So rewriting this, how would I rewrite it? What would come first? Negative.
5.
What goes in the place of x?
Negative 2.
So what does the negative 2 need to be in? Will these go behind that? And then? Multiplying two negatives creates a, what's 5 times 2? Does 10 equal 10? So negative 2 is the correct answer. I'm strategically highlighting what I am checking. That's the whole point. Don't just highlight everything. Strategically point out what you need to know goes with what. Any questions there? The next one I have x divided by 5 equals 12. How do I get x by itself? It's being divided by 5. That's not how you get it by itself. What's the inverse operation of division? So what is it being divided by? So what do you need to do to get the x by itself? Times it by 5. What you do to one side, you must do to the... What happens to these 5s? So what's left? X. Then? Equals. What's being typed in? Type it in. Don't say anything. I'll tell you when. Matthew, what'd you get?
60.
Y'all all get 60? So how do I check this? How would I rewrite it? What would need to come first?
12.
No.
60.
60 over 5. Thank you. Because what's written on the left side? Read it for me, Jordan. A.
X.
Over.
X over 5.
So what was the x?
60.
So it would be what over 5?
60 over 5.
Thank you. Do you see where it was?
Yeah.
What comes behind that? That goes for everybody.
Equals.
Equals.
12.
60 over 5 is what?
12.
Does 12 equal 12? So is 60 the right answer?
Yeah.
There you go. Any questions? So, looking at this first triad, I have negative 7x equals negative 91. Negative 7x equals negative 91. So, what do I need to do to get x by itself? Is it the first case or the second case?
First one.
First one. So, how do I get rid of the coefficient on x?
Negative 7 divided by negative 7.
Negative 7 divided by negative 7. Once you do one side, you must do to the... So what happens to these negative 7s? So what's being brought down? Behind that? And then what am I typing in?
Negative 91 divided by 7. Negative 7.
Thank you. Negative 91 divided by negative 7. Negative 91 divided by negative 7. What'd y'all get? Positive? Agreed, because two negatives dividing make a... Any questions there? So how would I check this? No, not quite. Is this the first case or the second case? So how would I use the first case to help me do this one? What would need to come first?
Maybe 7.
Thank you. Then?
13.
Uh-huh. Equals. Thank you. You see how I'm referencing a previous problem to help me with this right here? That's what y'all need to do, okay? That's called using effective problem solving, okay? If I don't know how to do it, there is an example right above me. Any questions? Utilize what you got. What's being typed into the calculator?
Negative 7 times 13.
Which is? What?
Negative 9.
Thank you. Do signs matter? Does negative 91 equal negative 91? So 13 is the correct answer. Any questions there? Right here. X over 9 equals negative 4. Is this a first case, second case? So how do I get x by itself? Times it by 9 on both sides. So what's happening to these 9s? So what's being brought down? Equals. And what's being typed into the calculator? Perfect. Get that typed in, please. Jordan, make sure you're typing in along with us, baby. The paper ain't going nowhere. What'd y'all get? Negative 36. Do signs matter? How do I check this?
Negative 36 over 9
Perfect. So typing in negative 36 divided by 9. Does negative 4 equal negative 4?
Yeah.
So that's the correct answer. Any questions there? Looking at my next one. Negative 3p equals negative 48. Is this case 1 or case 2? Case 1. So what do I need to do? Divide by what? Negative 3. You take the entire coefficient, not part of it, all of it. That means if it's negative, you take the negative. Any questions there? So what happens to these two negative 3's? So what's left? P equals, and then what am I typing into the calculator? No. What do I type in? Thank you. Negative 48 divided by negative 3. That is division. Negative 48 divided by negative 3. What did that get you? Any questions there?
I got negative 60.
You dropped a negative. Does signs matter? Can you pick and choose when you put them and place them? If you don't do it correctly, will you get the wrong answer? So it ain't the calculator, it's you. Any questions? How do I check this? Plug in the 16. Y'all help them. Y'all all in here too.
Equals negative 48.
So what's negative 3 times 16? Does negative 48 equal negative 48? So is 16 the correct answer? There we go. Last one we have negative 9 equals x over negative 3. It's the second case, so how do I get x by itself? Times what? Negative 3, because that's what x is being divided by. So, what am I typing in? 2 negatives make a, when you're multiplying or dividing. So, the answer should be positive. Positive what? What comes down behind it? Equals. How can this also be rewritten? Are both answers acceptable? Absolutely. How do I check this?
27.
No.
Oh, negative 9.
There we go. Equals. Then.
27 over negative 3.
Perfect. I'm nitpicking this because I want you to read it as it's written. That's a big mistake that happens. So what comes down unchanged? Negative 9 equals, what's 27 divided by negative 3? What was it? Does negative 9 equal negative 9? So is 27 the right answer? Pause. Any questions here? How are we feeling? Feeling like we're grasping it? Starting to get some memorization from previous classes? Hitting you a little bit? No, Gavin, it ain't really touching you like any, okay? We're okay. Looking at this, it says, what is the reciprocal of each of the following terms? Reciprocal just means what? Starts with an F. You just flip the fraction, correct? So what's the reciprocal of 1/2? What was it? What's the reciprocal of 2/3? What's the reciprocal of negative 4 over 5? And what's the reciprocal of 8 over 7? Any questions there? It says to solve an equation with a fractional coefficient, you must multiply both sides by the what? What word did we just learn? Reciprocal. That's how you keep ones that look like this truly one step. Does that make sense? So if I'm looking at this one, I have 2/3 x equals 4. 2/3 x equals 4. What's the reciprocal of 2/3? So I'm multiplying it by both sides because it says it right there. Bless you. This crosses out, these 3's cross each other out, and those 2's cross each other out, leaving me with just what on this side? Right here, baby. X. What comes directly behind that? Equals. And then I type in 4 times 3, right? Because can I make that a fraction by putting that 4 over 1? What's 4 times 3? And what is 1 times 2? Should I check this in the calculator? What's 12 divided by 2? So what's my final answer? Any questions there? If you have them, this is the time. But this is stuff that we looked over and we talked about previously. Looking at this one, I have 40 equals 8 over 7x. How do I do this one? Times what? Thank you, I was missing that operation. So what happens between these two 8's right here? What happens between these two 7's? So what's left on this side? Equals, right? How can I write 40 as a fraction? So what am I multiplying first? What's 40 times 7? 280. What's being multiplied next? What's 8 times 1? Should I type this in the calculator? So 280 divided by 8. What does that get you? So I have what as my final answer? Or, there you go. Do both answers work? I'm not going to lie to you. I am the one who puts it on the left side every single time, meaning my variable always goes to the left. That's just me. It helps me in other math-based questions. That way I know that it's continuity. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. So, any questions there? Make sense? Everybody still with me? Okay, let's look at these triads. I have 1/2 x equals -6. What do I do here? Times 2 over 1. So what happens to these 2's right here? These 1's? So what's being brought down? How can I make this -6 as a fraction? So what's -6 times 2? Negative what, sorry? What's 1 times 1? What's anything times 1? Type in -12 divided by 1. What did it get you? So anything divided by or multiplied by 1 gives you what? The same number back. Checking this is exactly the same. It would be 1/2 times -12 equals -6. Just typing this in the calculator, when you multiply by 1/2, you're dividing by 2. That gets me -6 equals -6, which is a true statement, so my answer is correct. Make sense? Looking at number 5. 5 equals -3/4 x. How would I solve this one? What about it? Multiplying. Thank you. I need that operation or else you're just telling me numbers. If there's no reason behind it, I don't need it. What happens to these 4's? These negatives, those 3's, cancel out, right? So, what's left on this side? X. What comes down in front of it? Equals. Well, how does this 5 turn into a fraction? So it's -4 times 5. Negative what? And then what's 3 times 1? Type in -20 divided by 3 and tell me if it simplifies. So, is this my final answer? Can I also rewrite it going the other way? Are both answers acceptable? Any questions there? Baby, the negative was already there. It's okay. The negative was already there. Even when you take the reciprocal, you're not taking the opposite. You're just flipping the numbers. If it's negative, it'll stay negative. So checking this, I would have 5 brought down equals negative 3/4 times negative 20 over 3. And if you were to type that in, that would get you a positive 60 over 12, which gets you a positive 5. Making this answer true. Any questions there? How are we feeling? We got 2 more. Let's get through them. How would I do 8 equals 4/7 x?
7 over 4.
Perfect on both sides. What next?
Put 1 over 8.
Put 1 underneath the 8. What happens here?
Bring down the x. Catch the
Bring down the x. What else am I bringing down?
8 times
Equals. And then what were you saying?
7 times
Which is?
8.
56 over 4 times 1, which is? What am I typing into the calculator? Type that in.
Type it in, Casey. 14.
He already did his. So what's going on? How can I rewrite this as well?
X equals 14.
Are both answers acceptable? Worry about yourself as opposed to worrying about him. Business is easier when you mind your own. Saves you a lot of time when you only got your own business as well. To check this, we have 8 equals 4/7 times, I heard you trying to help me, you're good, times that. So when I multiply that, bringing it all down, that should get me 8 equals, and that should be 56 over 7. So that should get me 8. 8 does equal 8, so that's my answer. Any questions? Last one. 9 over 11x equals 9. How do I do this one? What do I, operation? Thank you. Multiplying what? Say it again.
11 over 9.
Thank you. So what happens here? Leaving. What's brought down behind it? What do I need to do with this 9? Put a 1 underneath it. What's being multiplied? And then? Over 9, because that's 1 times 9, correct? 99 over 9. Does it simplify? Into what? 11. Guys, type it in the calculator. 99 divided by 9. Why are we guessing? Zetarian, type it in. Kingston, type it in.
I said about
Type it in, though. I didn't ask you got on your paper. Type it in.
I already got it down.
Oh, no. What'd you type in? Yeah, do that for me. 99 divided by 9. I didn't ask you what you got. You said what you got out loud. What'd y'all both get? Thank you. I wasn't asking. I have it right here. You didn't say it out loud. So that's what I'm checking. Okay? Let the teacher teach. Okay? What do I need to hear from y'all? 2 words. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. That's all I need. How would I rewrite this? In parentheses.
Salute. Pledge.
What would be in the parentheses?
To the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic
So,
for
that would
which
be
it stands,
99 over 11, which is 9. Hey, baby, come on in.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Does 9 equal 9?
Maybe say it.
That would be it. Any questions? So, study, looking over that, please and thank you. Get your stuff packed up. Hey, I'm still recording. You'll get that tomorrow. Your job is to study this evening. Just a second, baby. Give me just a minute.
Great job, coaches. Great job, athletes.
Yes, ma'am.